The show focused on delivering beneficial information on everything to do with products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
And welcome back to Key Pacific's Talk About Strata. Tony Giventu and Sterling Fox with you, joined in studio by lawyer Paul Mendez from L'Espérance Mendez in downtown Vancouver. We've been talking about major improvements and or renovations to condos and strata complexes. We've been using a pretty typical example that Tony has provided. A building here in Vancouver, it's 28 years old, desperately in need of new piping. 128 different residences within this strata complex. And we've been talking about all of the procedures. And Paul, as you've been so helpful guiding us through this, the process. But now, I think we're sort of at the point now, Tony, where we can devote the last segment of today's program to the actual construction phase, because let's assume that the tendering process has gone reasonably successfully. The Strata Council has accepted a bid from a contractor. All everything's been approved. So now they're going to go into this 30-year-old building and replace the piping. And the piping is in the concrete. So they can't jackhammer it out. They're going to take the building down if they do that. So they have to run a whole building full of piping over top of a building full of piping.
Well, and you'll find that even in wood frame buildings, nobody's going to be ripping out all the drywall in the walls to replace the piping in walls and in floor spaces.
But it's a major undertaking. Everybody's suite is going to get messed up.
It is a major undertaking, and this is something that we'll talk about what happens. But when you think about what's going to happen, in the back of your mind, you have a checklist going on that says, we need to make sure that when we approve this budget, we budget for major construction in suites and restoration of walls and things like that. And we need to make sure that the owners know that's going to happen, because that's one of the problems, is the owners don't really have a sense of what really is going to happen. And the high-rise is a good example. This high-rise is interesting in the sense that they have cooking islands. So there is no wall that connects the ceiling to floor around their kitchen sink and their dishwasher with cooking islands, right? The pipes run through the concrete floor. So how do you get the water to the island without some sort of disruption? So they've looked at a few options. They've looked at a platform, an elevated platform in the kitchen area that they could run the pipes through. They've looked at a small drop wall now as part of the island, so it's no longer an island, to be able to bring water pipes to the sink and to the dishwasher, right? It's great to look at buildings that have great open spaces, but open spaces present other kinds of complications. Right. Also, people may have renovated their units. We might have brand new kitchens, brand new bathrooms, faucets, tabs. We have all of these upgrades. How are they going to be connected in? What you'll find commonly is the pipes are going to go through feeder systems down the hallways in the corridors. Right. And if there's straight line hallways and corridors, that's the easiest way of doing this. Right. And then from those straight line corridors, each unit is going to have a takeoff where it's going to be connected up to the new water system. It will cause a fair amount of drywall dust and drywall damage, because the corridors, the piping in the hallways will be boxed in somehow, generally with drywall. One of the upside of this is, as they're installed, they can install shutoff panels throughout the buildings. So now they can isolate and access better for future repairs and
water
maintenance.
Escapes and those sorts of things.
Absolutely. Sure. So there's some great opportunities to kind of upgrade and modernize your building at the same time here.
Should I plan as an owner in this building, Paul, that sooner or later the construction folks are going to hit my suite, and they're going to have to, as Tony says, going to be dusty and noisy, and should I plan to just vacate for a few days and go stay with friends or go to a hotel? And if so, can I recover those costs?
You should do that if you can afford it, and I think
and not expect to recover anything. Huh?
I don't see how you would be able to recover that.
Okay.
In a strata, the strata has an obligation to repair and maintain the common property. You as an owner have to cooperate with it. The strata essentially has an easement type arrangement in your strata lot that allows it to do this type of work. So the fact that you may have put in a whole bunch of expensive fixtures that are going to be affected by this is not really going to be the strata's problem. It's going to be your problem. But certainly, hopefully, the strata has been keeping track of alterations and is using proper agreements with owners who make alterations to anticipate this type of problem in the future.
Sure.
But yes, if you can, vacating might be a good idea. I mean, people do it all the time with their own home renovations in any event.
Have you run into legal situations where somebody's dumped a whole lot of cash into say, a kitchen of a condo? The renovation gang comes in and really messes things up. And so all of a sudden you've just spent a whack of loot on improving your place, which the renovation people don't do a very good job of respecting.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you just feel aggrieved and, well, you got to repair all of this stuff. Do those cases come up?
A couple of times a year, I will get contacted by an owner or a strata where that is an issue. Certainly in buildings where people have done substantial and expensive renovations
Right.
to their unit. You've got contractors in there, specialized flooring will get scuffed and marked and scored, and other damage can happen. In a plumbing situation, the changes in the plumbing may affect the way appliances operate, expensive appliances.
And we're
that people
talking
have
about a major plumbing thing in this particular building, the whole building.
Exactly. It can be a real problem. And of course, the individual strata lot owners can be very, very upset by that.
Now, who gets sued? Is it the Strata Council because they authorized these repairs, or is it the contractor who messed up this kitchen I just spent so much money on?
Well, the person that caused the damage, I think, has the exposure.
Okay.
This is really, at the end of the day, probably going to be an insurance issue.
Right.
But if a person doesn't have the insurance to cover this, then they are looking at doing it on their own nickel and then seeing who's going to pay the cost of doing it.
Tony, is now that the thing has been approved and the contractors are coming in and starting to start work, does everyone in the building have a clear, is it required that they have a clear understanding, okay, construction begins August 1st, and it should be finished by next May, the end of next May. And so this is the window of discomfort for the next 9 or 10 months or whatever. Does that require information up front?
Well, if you want your project to go well, you're going to keep your homeowners and your occupants well informed. You're going to let them know about construction schedules. You're going to let them know in advance when you need access to their strata lots. And you're going to give them a very clear sense of what kind of effect it's going to have on your strata lot.
Yeah.
You can't do it otherwise. Without doing this, it's just you'll be plagued with nothing but disputes, delays, and problems. And every delay that you can't get into a strata lot causes more economic burden on the contractor, which probably in the contract they're going to be able to recover against you as cost overruns because of delays of access. Those are things that just cost you more and more money as the project goes along. Most of the piping is actually located near the corridors anyhow.
Okay.
Right? So you'll find things like kitchen sinks and bathrooms and toilets and showers, those things, they're located near the corridors. So proximity is not really a problem in most of them. But there is actually one penthouse unit in this building that they redid the bathrooms in pink marble, and they're not sure how they're going to take the marble out to redo the tub, which has for some reason, the tub water fixture and shower head are at the opposite side from the wall. How they're going to be able to do this without damaging the marble. It's not the Strata's fault because somebody didn't upgrade to their unit, right?
Right.
And Strata's going to have to do this work, and owners may find they're going to have to expend money on restoring their units when they're done.
We've had a great discussion, and many thanks to Paul Mendez for helping us through all of this. Tony, is there more information about how Strata Councils need to act and how individual condo owners can respond or at least learn more? Is that on your website, choa.bc.ca? There's
quite a number of guides on our website, and I would go to the Homeowner Protection Office website, hpo.bc.ca.
Okay.
There's a number of guides that have been jointly researched in the industry on managing major construction and repairs and the things to look for and planning for repairs. They have a lot of great guides on their website as well.
Okay, so if you've been following along here and want to get more info, Tony recommends the Homeowner Protection Office, hpo.bc.ca, or the Condominium Homeowners Association website, choa.bc.ca. Tony Giavento is the Executive Director of the Condominium Homeowners Association of BC. As always, my friend, a real pleasure.
Have a good night. Thanks a lot.
And Paul Mendez, thanks to you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thanks.
I'm Sterling Fox. See you next time.